I'm sure by now you've heard that the end of this war could come in a matter of days, and I am cautiously optimistic and tearfully emotional about this possibility. But there's a couple things that I want to say, and that is that when the vilification of Israel begins, and it will happen, remember this: Gaza did this to themselves. They started a war with Israel. They crossed our borders. They murdered civilians. They stole hostages, men, women, children, Holocaust survivors, and they held them for more than 2 years. This war, sadly, could have ended on day one. All Hamas had to do was return the hostages and lay down their weapons. It took Israel 2 years to get them to do that. They chose not to. They chose to drag this out, sacrificing their own people that they used as shields, building tunnels under hospitals and schools, and turning the entire Gaza Strip into a battlefield. All the while, they churned out propaganda, fake stories, staged photos, and lies that ended up being debunked. All the while, they called Israelis, and actually Jews all over the world, baby killers, when it was Hamas who strangled the Bibas babies, Ariel and Kfir, with their bare hands. They even used pictures of our own hostages to prove that the Palestinians were being tortured. And if history gives us any clue to the future, they will continue to appropriate our pain, twisting it to make themselves victims. And this is a point that Jews don't really pick up so quickly because we don't see ourselves as victims. Even when we have every right to claim victimhood, we generally don't do that because we don't dwell in the past. We look to the future, and that's how we've survived for thousands of years. Now, it wasn't until Hamas's own military capabilities were destroyed, until they were backed into a corner and pressured by Arab countries themselves, that Hamas finally agreed to a ceasefire. And now, notice the silence. The same voices that screamed ceasefire for months and months are suddenly quiet. Why? Because they didn't really want a ceasefire, they just wanted Israel to cease fire. This was never about coexistence, it was about preventing Israel from existing. They said so in their own chants that they screamed on the streets. They criticized the IDF and called us the IOF, saying that we were on the offensive, not the defensive, trying to convince the world that Israeli soldiers are the aggressors when they were fighting a war that they didn't start, when they were fighting for the hostages. Israel sacrificed about 1,000 soldiers in this war because Israel chose to go in surgically hunting for terrorists, not targeting civilians. And over these past 2 years, anti-Israel protesters tried to claim that anti-Zionism was not anti-Semitism, but their goal was clear, which was to stop Israel from defending herself. Yet it was only because of the courage and determination of the IDF that we have reached this point, a potential end to the war and a return of the hostages. Because wars don't end with hashtags and wishful thinking. They end when one side is defeated. Peace isn't achieved by pausing conflict. It's achieved when the side who started the war does not have the capability to continue the war. And hopefully the next step will be de-radicalization. But let's not get ahead of ourselves, because what we've seen over the past 2 years is that anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism have become deeply embedded in Western culture. So much so that it seems that well-meaning people have lost their way and can't tell the difference between terrorism and humanitarianism. So yes, we have a long road ahead of us, even after the last hostage comes home. And when the next wave of outrage comes, and we see people pointing fingers in the headlines and the comment sections, and unfortunately even in our DMs, I want you to remember who started this war, who prolonged it, and how it finally ended.